Dionisio at the plate. He's over 2 today. Swakowski, the big right-hander, lets it go. It's right down Broadway. Dionisio lets it fly, and it's raining now.
It's time for Rain Delay Theater with Jeremy Dionisio and Jack Swakowski.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rain Delay Theater, the show where two bums talk about other bums at baseball games. I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
And I'm Jack Swakowski.
This is episode number 322, and today we're going to be recapping, graphing of the Cubs-Rockies series from June 15th to June 17th up at Wrigley Field. So, just kind of, we got two shots at the Rockies. The Monday game was June 15th. I was at that game solo. That was the Pete Crow-Armstrong cycle game. Jack and I met afterwards to graph, and then we went back on getaway day to try to see what we could do. But yeah, I guess we can start with some Monday. Jack, I mentioned this last episode because we recorded this after that, but I did go to the game. I'm glad that I did because I saw the Pete Crow-Armstrong cycle. It was really cool. He hit a homer and a triple in his first two at bats, and I was feeling pretty good about that, and didn't expect him to get it in order like that, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, a lot of good names too. Jeremy, as a Brewers fan, I was listening to the game. I didn't want him to get that fucking cycle, but that's okay though. That's okay. So yeah, I was listening to it on the radio, and they listed off all of the Cubs who'd had cycles before him, and it's pretty cool guys. I mean, it's I think Andre Dawson might have had a cycle back in the 80s. Did they say did Mark Grace have a cycle? Was that he in maybe 93? Yeah, they said
those were the last two at Wrigley. Those were the last two at Wrigley. Dawson's came in 87, his
Right.
MVP season.
Yep. They said Randy Hundley had one. Hack Wilson was one of the earliest guys to get one. That was cool, right? So it's like, you think baseball history, Hack Wilson all the way to Pete Crow-Armstrong is pretty cool.
Yeah, and surprisingly, I've gotten like four of those guys in person. Barely got PCA in South Bend, but I did manage to get them once. It was the 11th cycle in Cubs history, the 11th reverse cycle ever, the 5th reverse cycle since 1961, and the 10th cycle at Wrigley Field. So that also is just crazy to think about. Like in the history of Wrigley Field, over 100 years, there's been only 10 cycles. It's pretty cool stuff. I think from visitors, I think Willie McGee got a cycle in the Sandberg game.
Okay.
And no one talks about that because it was the Sandberg game. But yeah, Willie McGee got a cycle in that game. So I don't know, just really cool stuff. And I was glad to be there for it. But yeah, I was able to get there early and graph as well. And so that's kind of where things got started. The Rockies were pretty successful overall with the Rockies, like from a BP standpoint to post game, at least for me. Post game, we had some highlights, so we'll get into that. But I ran in there, at gates. I was a little bit further back, and I saw Josh was in the front. So I ran in there. And I run up to the spot, and Josh is getting a guy, his autograph. And I ran up there to see who it was. And as I got closer, I could tell it was Brenton Doyle. Now, Brenton Doyle he's up there with some of the better signers in the league. Yeah. And I've gotten him, I think I want to say like 3 times.
I've gotten him once, just because I didn't have a card for him the first time. And he was nice. He came right over.
Yeah, very good signer, so that's cool. And I ran up to the spot, and Josh and this other kid were getting a signature, and he came over. I kind of got up there. I got my book ready, but I was not going to get him. He was on the IL, so I barely even brought his card. I brought this card that I had just in my stack, and it's not the best card, but he comes over to me, and he's standing there, and he's kind of reaching out for my book, and I'm like, oh, yeah, Brendan, I got you right here. And so I had to flip to his card really quick and hand him my book, and I got him to sign this card, but I was totally not even going for him. So he almost made me sign for him, which will come in that oddly enough, the graphing experience for me was bookended by unsolicited autographs. So we'll get to that, but yeah, Doyle got me, so that was pretty cool. And then we kind of made our way to the infield, and Tanner Gordon was there, another guy who was on the IL. There was an odd amount of Rockies players in Chicago who were on the IL. We were speculating maybe maybe Chris Bryant had a doctor here who was able to keep him healthy, and so the Rockies were sending all their injured guys to this doctor. Right. But Tanner Gordon was there, and he called down his family, and he was over by the opening in the netting by the dugout where we get autographs, and he had his whole family down there. Like his mom came in and he gave his mom like a big hug. His dad came down, he gave him a hug, and then they kept like motioning for more people to come down. And there was like a sister, like some kid, and then like I think there was like the sister's like husband or something, and that guy came down like last, and he even seemed kind of like he didn't even want to go down there to say hi to him, and like they gave like a perfunctory handshake, but it's like this guy didn't even like. He's barely in the picture, but he got called down. And I have to say, I kind of shared like a moment with Josh a little bit, because Josh, I will say this, Josh has been around Dennis too much, and so now Josh is starting to complain like Dennis does. Which is, you don't want to see that. That's like exactly what you don't want to see, like the young kids getting influenced by the older people. But there was a spot. There was a point where like Tanner Gordon's whole family was down by the opening in the net, and they were completely blocking access to the net. And there were some guys milling about in the back, and Josh is not shy about yelling for guys across the diamond. And because he's a kid, he can sometimes get them over. And me and Josh were giving each other looks like, all right, already. We were like rolling our eyes at the Gordon family, because it's like, all right, already, enough, like stop blocking the net. And Josh was like, he was looking at me like, come on. And I'm like, yeah, this is totally killing autographs right now. So yeah, it was kind of funny. It was like maybe like a grown up moment for Josh of like, of getting frustrated. I should have said to him like, you're getting frustrated like me.
Yeah, man. Well, it's like Dennis called Josh and his friends. He called him the new regime. That was at the Sox Park. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, that does sound frustrating though. You still got a few other guys though, right? Besides Doyle inside.
Yeah. Let me shoot. I don't have my autos ready, but I did pretty well. I remember you said you got Jordan Pacheco, a coach inside, Brett Pill, hitting coach. You said you got Sean Sullivan, right? Yeah, I got Sean Sullivan. I got Juan Mejia, Antonio Senzatella, Edward Julian, Hunter Goodman, Sean Sullivan, and Pill and Pacheco. Yeah,
those are some good ones.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Sean Sullivan was a cool one just because I had his card. Hunter Goodman, obviously, you can't complain about. I got him like a couple of years ago, I think, at this point, and he's kind of emerged as like a really good player. Of course, he plays in Colorado, but yeah, probably an all-star this year, and never bad to get him again. I actually got him on like a rookie card, which was nice. And then Edward Julian was a good get. We had a kind of a run-in with him later on that we'll talk about. But yeah, I think one kind of footnote that's kind of cool too is Juan Mejia took the loss in that game, the cycle game. So kind of cool to have him just as kind of like a footnote to the Pete Crow Armstrong cycle. So
yeah, him and Victor Vodnik blew that game. So Jeremy, I was waiting outside for you at the bus. I couldn't do the game, but I could do the bus afterwards. And you came out right after the game ended. It was a dramatic win for the Cubs, a walk-off win after the Rockies pen blew it. And so I look back and I saw you coming out, but then you were like neck and neck with Cable Guy coming on up to the barricade. And I like at first I kind of did a double take. I was like, did Jeremy come with Cable Guy? But of course you didn't. So I don't think Cable Guy saw you coming, man. Like he was coming up. And I was, you're never happy to see Cable Guy, so I was pissed that I saw him. And then I see you right there, and like you cut him off. I know you said you didn't see the movie F1 with Brad Pitt, but it's like his character would have been proud with you, man. It was like two race cars, and like one just like cut off the other one, and that was what happened with you. And so you got the spot that I'm sure Cable Guy was vying for. So then Cable Guy ended up on my bad ear side, which is further away. It's further away. It's good for me because I can't hear what he's saying, but also it's further away from where the autographs are going to be got. So that was good too. So yeah, that was crazy, Jeremy. Did you see him as you were as you were coming up towards me?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can talk about this. So normally we run out of the stadium. We get into a position to get out of there, and then we run down the stairs, and I don't know, I would probably say 90% of the time it's kind of not necessary to really bust it out of there, but it's something you can control, so you just try to get out there and get a spot. And if you lollygagged, you would be annoyed if someone took your spot. So I'd say 90% of the time it's not an issue. And so this time I was by myself, and I knew you were out there, and it was a walk-off, so I kind of wanted to see a little bit of the celebration. I think Matt Shaw walked it off. Pretty awesome. Matt Shaw walked it off on Gay Pride Night, which was, it's just like Blake Trinan getting the win on Pride Night. It's
right.
They sent a lot of gay people in the crowd home happy. So always fun there. Also, just as a side note, someone did, after Pete Crow Armstrong, when he came up after he had gotten the cycle, they showed a guy on the Jumbotron, and he had a sign that said "Gay for PCA."
I've seen that picture.
Okay, yeah, nice. I got a picture of that, and so it was funny, just all over the board, and then people went crazy for it, so that's good.
Yeah. A side note before you go on. Allegedly, I saw today that the Giants pushed back Landon Roop's start to Thursday, which is interesting because I think he was supposed to start tomorrow at home for the Giants.
Oh.
And for listeners who aren't aware, he was the he's the big target in all of this. All of the crap that the Giants did. And he deserves to get booed, I think. But yeah, they pushed him back to Thursday. I don't know why. That's what I heard. But Thursday's an afternoon game, which means it would probably be more sparsely attended. So be interesting to see how that plays out. But I'm glad that the Chicago fans can actually whatever. And I'm glad the Cubs are handling it a little bit better than the Giants did.
Yeah, for sure. We can just say too. We kind of dabbled in we kind of talked about this a little bit back to our over-unders episode with controversies witnessed the aftermath of. We kind of saw the Giants right before all the Pride stuff blew up, so it's kind of I think that's pretty close. It's close enough to probably count it, considering how rare it is. Yeah. To see a controversy like that. So yeah, I think we hit the over on that one.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never imagined it would be something like that, especially with guys we had some interaction with too. And Sam Hedges was pretty nice to us, and then you find out all this stuff. So it was definitely wild stuff. So yeah, always good to hit the over on that, and we're not even at the All-Star break.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, long story short, Cable Guy. I did see Cable Guy. I busted it out of there. Cable Guy was, he was going, I was like, oh, fuck, Cable Guy. And then I'm like, oh, shit, Cable Guy. And, I did, so I will liken it to, Jack, I didn't see F1, it's not on my list, but there's a couple videos out there of, marathons where some guy gets, closed in on the last, the home stretch. Yeah. And some guy just fucking rockets past him and beats this guy. And they have nothing left. Cable Guy didn't see me coming, so there was that. But I did. I pride myself on being a fast walker, and and nine times out of 10 I'm walking fast, kind of for no reason. I guess a lot of times I'm walking to try to make gates or something for Cubs. But this one I'm like, oh my god, here we go, Jeremy. This is what it's all been building towards. Yeah. And I fucking laid down the rubber, and I zoomed right past Cable Guy, and it was it felt awesome, man. It felt really good.
Yeah, nothing he could do either.
No.
Yeah. No. So that was good. So we ended up having good position. I think Picture Book might have been right next to me too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
Picture
think
Book
so.
was there as well. He's been there a lot lately. Probably the most frequent grapher at Wrigley. So we were just kind of waiting for players to come out. We didn't want any announcers, so that wasn't really on our radar. That reminds me of something, but I'll put it in here later. Nick, the security guard, our friend Nick, was there, and he started asking us about eBay. Now, I purchased from eBay, but I don't sell on there, so I deferred to you, Jeremy, and it proceeded to be nearly 10-minute. I would say at least a good 6 to 7 minutes, literally, conversation of you just talking to Nick about the eBay tips, and then him going back and like giving you back stuff, and then you tried to close the conversation, but you were unsuccessful. So it was. Why don't you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, he comes up to us and he goes like, either you sell on eBay, and
Yep.
and then you were like, I don't, but Jeremy does, and so he kind of is like, yeah, he's like, I got these listings, but no one's buying them. He's like, everyone's looking at them, but no one's buying anything. And he's like, what am I doing wrong? Tell me, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, all right, let me see your phone. And he showed me, and like I was like looking like to see how he like worded the auctions, if he's like missing like a word. Every once in a while you'll see someone like accidentally leave out like auto or autograph from a listing. Sometimes people will like misspell stuff. Sometimes people will just miss like key information, like the year or tops or something. So I was kind of like looking through his stuff and kind of giving it like a quality control check. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure, man. Like, the prices are, whatever. And like, I showed him a couple things about how you can send an offer to people who are watching your auction. But yeah, we ran through the whole thing, and he's like, and it was back and forth. He's like, whoa, cause what's that now? What do I do? I do this, or I go to this page. What's that? And, I was helping him out and stuff, but also it was going on for a long time. And like the players, like, we're about to come out any second.
Yep.
And so I'm talking to him. I'm looking over his shoulder, like you're looking, like we're just trying to like get ready for all this. And and so I kind of like wrapped it up. I can't remember what he like kind of said at the end, but I felt like I wrapped it up, and I go like, all right, there you go, eBay 101, eBay 101. And he didn't say anything to that. He just like walked away. And then I was like, was that like condescending for me to say that? Like, maybe I should have said 201 or something.
I mean, he admitted that he was a novice with it. Yeah. And I do think that it sounded like you were giving him some pretty good like actual advice from someone who has experience with it. So, I'm trying to think of the cards he had too. He had did he have a Trout auto?
He had a Trout auto. He had a Roman Anthony, RPA, which is a rookie patch auto, so like a jersey relic. I'm trying to think what like maybe a Bobby Witt relic, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that was crazy. And then he started talking about how he tried to sell it to the Tom Brady store too. So conversation started going all over the place. Well, yeah, eventually you were thankfully able to wrap it up, and then the players did start coming out. Brendan Bernardino, former left-handed reliever, former Red Sox, came out first. He was the first player out. Jeremy, you had a card for him. I didn't, so I didn't call. But you called for him. He just completely snubbed you. Like he just didn't even look. He just went on the bus. They acted like a complete chud.
Yeah, I had a custom that I made. And because I've had a shot at him a couple times. I guess mostly just with the Red Sox, but yeah, he hasn't had an official Topps card. And so I made a custom, and so just to go back to the Pete Crow Armstrong cycle, PCA got the single off of Bernardino, and then Bernardino proceeded to pick PCA off of first base. It's gamesmanship. It is what it is, but it was it was a little lame just because it's like, all right, dude, you gave up the hit and the single or the cycle, and it's like there's nothing you can do about it now. So it's like I guess picking him off is fun, but it's like, hey dude, you never did anything close to this in your life, nor will you ever. do anything like that. So just don't rain on someone else's parade.
Yeah, it's like the guy who picked George Brett off when Brett got his 3,000th hit.
Yeah, exactly. So he came off the field, or he came out of the game, and he came to the bus, and I called for him, and then immediately I was like, yeah, that's why you'll never do anything in your career. I was like mumbling under my breath. I wasn't even so much mumbling under. I was like kind of saying like, yeah, that's why you fucking suck or something, which I don't normally do, but it was just like, hey, dude, like, who are you to deny me, especially after you gave up the cycle? Like, you should be lucky that someone is asking for your autograph.
Yeah, exactly, especially since he was probably brought in specifically to face the lefty PCA, and he still gave up a single, probably on like the first pitch too, from what it sounded like on the radio. So yeah, that was pathetic. Kyle Freeland came out, and so I called for him and got him. I think I've gotten him 3 times now, maybe, Jeremy, maybe 2.
Yeah,
but he's pretty automatic. Did you get him as well?
I did, yeah. I did.
Yeah, so he's automatic, and that's one of those ones where you just he's a guy you know is going to sign, so it's like, yeah, just get one in early just to kind of break the seal, and just even if you go home with that, to quote the cable guy, at least you won't go home empty-handed. So we did get Freeland, which was good, and then a guy I had my eye on, I wasn't sure if he was going to be there or not, but Paul DePodesta is the president of baseball operations for the Rockies now. He was he's the basis for the Jonah Hill character in Moneyball. He was the Dodgers GM for like a year before he got fired, and then he went to maybe the Mets and the Padres. And then for 10 years he worked for the Cleveland Browns as, I don't know what exactly he did for them. I don't think he was like the president of football operations. He had some weird title. But anyway, he's back in baseball now, and it's kind of a big deal when the Rockies hired him, just because of his background. And I thought, he'd be a cool guy to get his autograph, just because he was so deeply involved in Moneyball. So he was there, and so I called for him. I made him like right before he came out. Called for him. He came over and he signed for us, which is really cool. So Jeremy, I think you got him on a Rockies 2019 team card, so the stadium, Coors Field. I got him on a SIG card. The SIG card looks great. I'm really happy with it. And he was nice too. I wasn't expecting him to sign. And I think for Moneyball, he did not want Jonah Hill to have his name, so they like changed the name in Moneyball. So I was like, is this guy not nice because of that? But yeah, he was actually pretty cool. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one, that we got him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just in all of this graphing, like you're obviously expecting the players to come by and be in the mix, but every once in a while when you get these like umpires or like coaches or like like unexpected coaches or whoever, or like a Roger Clemens, like that's kind of like the really cool stuff about graphing that you're not really expecting. And so like I know you had mentioned DePodesta, but I had totally forgotten about him. I maybe would have made a custom of him, which maybe would have freaked him out or something, because like he is not like a big well-known guy or something. So it would have been interesting. But yeah, like I was super happy to get him. So I'm thankful that you spotted him and he was on your radar, because he might have just totally zoomed past me. And I was saying it occurred to me afterwards that I have now Billy Beane and Paul DePodesta. So it's pretty crazy. I don't know if he would have signed the Moneyball Blu-ray or something if I brought it, but yeah, it's very cool to have both of those guys. So
and custom might be the move next year, Jeremy, too, because he'll be with them probably for a couple years, so I wouldn't mind getting him again on a custom.
Yeah, now that we have him for sure, like that would be it's worth it. It's worth the gamble. So I don't know if you noticed this, Jack, what happened though, because I think you were maybe getting him at the time, but
I think I was.
Yeah, there was like another Rockies employee who was wearing like a Rockies polo shirt or something. I think he came out. I actually don't think he came out with DePodesta. I think he came out beforehand. But DePodesta came over and signed for us, and this guy kind of like made this like kind of quizzical face and walked over, and then like looked over DePodesta's shoulder to see like what he was signing or something. And like I don't know if like, so I had like this, I made up this whole scenario where it's like DePodesta, because Bill James is the same way. Bill James, like the stats guy who founded Stats LLC from Chicago, and like just like I think he's also in Moneyball, and just I think he was hired by the Red Sox. You know, he's a weird. I've heard he's like kind of a weird guy, like and like to be like that kind of like crazy numbers guy. You know, maybe he's lacking in other like social areas or whatever. And so like I was wondering if like DePodesta is maybe kind of like that, kind of like not a recluse, but just kind of like, you know, eccentric or something. And like maybe he signs stuff or like he does weird stuff, and like maybe this assistant was looking over to make sure he wasn't signing like a blank piece of paper or like a a check or something. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe he was just being like a nosy Nancy or something. But he looked over DePodesta's shoulder and then kind of just like walked away. But it was odd. It was odd that he kind of did that.
Well, you know, I did look it up, Jeremy, and there's no pictures or like any evidence of DePodesta having signed anything else on eBay or anywhere. It's not a common autograph. I'm sure there's Billy Bean stuff out there, but yeah, DePodesta is not common, even though he is a huge character in Moneyball. I just read it about 6 months ago, and you know he's in there and he's a big character. But oddly enough, he probably doesn't get asked that much. A, because you know maybe people just don't recognize him, but B, he is seemingly kind of much maligned in like some sports circles. I mean, obviously the Browns are a controversial franchise and they've been terrible for a long time. So I don't think he was well liked there. And I had read that when he got hired by the Rockies, there were a lot of articles that said like he did his job almost completely remotely for the Browns. Like I think he continued to live in California or wherever he lives. You know, he got fired from the Dodgers after like a year of being their GM. And I feel like these analytics guys, especially the early ones like him, have kind of been blamed for making baseball less fun. And, you know, taking all of the, you know, just kind of taking a certain je ne sais quoi out of baseball and just turning it into this analytic thing where you like, you know, your starter never faces the lineup 3 times and, you know, you got to bring in your relievers here and whatever. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting autograph to get, but yeah, maybe the assistants aren't used to seeing that guy sign anything.
Yeah, I could see that, and I just roll my eyes at all that. I mean, it's like in Moneyball, the guys who are like, "I'll tell you, Billy, what are you doing? You can't get rid of this guy. Like, you can't replace Giambi." Like, it's like that's just like the movie. So I know the movie's dramatized, you know, but like, yeah, it's just come on, like, why not use all available data that you have?
Right.
So, you know,
exactly. So anyway, yeah, that was a cool one. And then Jeremy, this might have been my favorite moment of the night, but you were trying to get Blaz. I'll let you tell it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So series 2 of Topps just came out. Had just come out prior to this series, and so I got a box. I ripped some packages, some packs, and excuse me, I pulled this Blas Castano card, relief pitcher. I think he's on the Mariners in the cards, but he's on the Rockies now. So I got him, and I was like, cool. This will be cool to get him. Like, seems like a guy who would be gettable. No reason to think he would deny, and so I made him as he came out. And he was coming out with Antonio Senzatella, who actually is a very good signer, and I had gotten him during BP. But he came out with him, and like they were kind of talking, and I said like, "Hey, Blas, you got time to sign one?" And he stopped, and he kind of took a step towards me, and Senzatella just kind of like put his arm like kind of behind Castano's back, and kind of like shook his head. He's like, "No," and he just kind of like shuffled him into the bus, and Castano was just kind of like looked kind of confused and just got on the bus.
Yeah. So Jeremy, I don't know. You may have just been reacting purely on instinct. I don't know if you remember how you reacted to that, but I'll tell you how you reacted. You said, come on, don't listen to him." Yeah. That's pretty. It was funny, and that was what I called a Big Shorty moment, because I don't know if you remember this. This is pretty obscure, but I think we were graphing the Pirates, and Mendy Lopez came out, and he kind of came over like Big Shorty tried to get him to come over, And, you and I were saying something, and I think she thought we were trying to tell Mendy Lopez not to come over. So she went, "Hey, don't listen to him." And she said that to Mendy Lopez. It's like, Big Shorty telling a major league coach not to listen to us is like a surreal moment. But, yeah, that was funny, man. You were just like, don't listen to him. But, like, Castano got on the bus anyway. So that was good. It's like you were throwing shade at Senzatella.
Yeah, it was it seemed almost like vindictive or something, like he knew me and knew my rep or something, and didn't want him to sign for me. So I can only surmise that Senzatella was giving him veteran advice or something in that moment,
right?
And just about pitching or something, and Castano's a rookie, I believe, and I think he was kind of just maybe it was kind of a thing where it's hey man, I'm trying to give you some help here. You don't walk away from me to sign an autograph for this guy. I'm giving you valuable information. Again, right. I'm making up the whole backstory here, but
yeah,
that's the only thing I could think of. Because again, Senzatella is a good signer. Mm-hmm. Maybe he was embarrassed that we called for Castano and not him. But
sure.
And he's hey, don't show up the vet by signing an autograph. I don't know, but it was still totally a bummer. But
yeah, it's like Mattingly not signing because he's by Rob Thompson or something like that. So that sucks. Yeah. That sucks, man. Like you said, it might have been a first sign for Castano as well.
Yeah. It might have been the first because those cards just came out. It might have been a situation where I could have asked him to write first signed on there. But yeah, so it wasn't meant to be. But yeah, we had a lot of luck overall. Besides that.
We did. Jeremy, did you ask Troy Johnston for his autograph?
Yeah, I did. So Troy Johnston came out probably next. I can't remember the exact order of all these guys. But came out wearing this nice suit and just kind of came out looking like $1 million, super classy. Now, Troy Johnston, I think, is if you've been paying enough attention, kind of was notable because he was on the Marlins last year. He came up with the Marlins as a rookie, and then I don't even know how he came over to the Rockies, but he's on the Rockies, and he said earlier in the year, it's the whole time I played in Miami, I never saw one person wearing a Marlins hat or something like that. So I don't know why he kind of I don't even think he was kind of saying it to torch the Marlins like sour grapes or anything. I think he was just just stating a fact. And so he definitely seems like a personable guy. He came out, and I think someone was saying to him hey, fan favorite Troy Johnston, and he said something oh, I don't know about that, fan favorite. He's I don't know. He's Carrick's kind of a fan favorite now. He's doing pretty well. I don't know about me though. I don't know if I'm a fan favorite. And he did sign for me, and it was cool. And he's not a world beater or anything, but he's an interesting player. And it was cool to get him. It turns out that we saw him years ago for the Beloit. I think they were still the Snappers at the time when they played the South Bend Cubs. It was when we saw Yuri Perez start for the Beloit Snappers, and I think it was that farewell season of Snappy. I forgot what he did. There was some kind of weird thing that the Snappy mascot did behind home plate. I forgot what it was. He was dancing to a song or something. But,
that might have been Jeremy. That might have been the night that Burns and Hader had the combined no-hitter for the Brewers. Do you remember that that was happening when? Yeah. That was 2021 maybe or 22, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It feels like a very long time ago. I know Jordan Wicks was just up into A-ball. He didn't have any cards yet, I don't think, and so I got him a SIG card. But yeah, that was a long time ago. So Troy Johnston was in that game. I didn't realize that until afterwards, so I couldn't I'm looking at your next note here, Jack, about Cable Guy. But yeah, so anyway, it was kind of funny, and it just I don't know, just he definitely stood out the way he came out. He came out in this whirl, and he was wearing this nice jacket, and he was being very personable. So yeah, he seems like a kind of a cool guy, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dare I say it?
Yeah, definitely. feels like he'd be gettable the next time he comes when I have a card for him. So nice guy. Some quick Cable Guy notes here. So Cable Guy was trying to get the announcers, and it's like, how have you not gotten the Rockies announcers yet? You know, they always sign. Hewson does. But so anyway, or Hewson. Now I'm pronouncing it wrong. So yeah, Cable Guy, he wanted to get Jeff Hewson, and you know we've gotten him before. He's cool. But Cable Guy called him Hewson. Jeff Hewson. How do you mess that up, man? So that was bad. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, it's not a hard name to pronounce. Like, I mean, again, This is the guy who fucking called Angel Zerpa Angel. So yeah, he sees Houston, which is essentially just Houston without the T. And like it's spelled slightly different, but it's, you know, it's easy enough. You have to really be reaching. It's almost like you have to be trolling someone to be like, "Oh, Mr. Hewson." It's like, come on, dude. You know it's Houston. Like, and so it just I don't know how you get that. So
that was bad. The other one was when the umps came out. So another announcer for the Rockies is Ryan Spilborghs. So the umpires come out. It's 4 of them, and one of them has the wife with them. And anyway, they're all guys in like their 40s or whatever, like, you know, early 50s. And so Cable Guy calls after him. He goes, "Spills?" Okay. And you know, obviously none of them turn around. But the way he said, "Okay," was like the guys were rejecting him. But they weren't rejecting him. Cable Guy just called for the wrong guy. Like you can't say, "Oh, okay," if you called for the wrong guy and then he doesn't come. That'd be like if you called for, like, you know, Troy Johnston when, you know, Brennan Bernardino came out, and then you still said, like, yeah, that's why you'll never be shit. You know, it's like you don't have the you don't have the right to do it if you called for the wrong guy, or if you called for the completely wrong guy, like Cable Guy did with the umpires.
Yeah, and like, just the wrong guy, no response. So I guess maybe in his mind he must have thought like, oh man, Ryan Spilborghs denied me. But like, I sorry if you said it, Jack, but like, the announcers come out are usually the first guys out. The umpires are very close to the end. They're definitely like at least towards like the end of the second bus. Usually they come out. It takes them a while to come out. So like, for you to think that was Spilborghs at the time the announcers came out or the umpires came out, it was just like so far off. So it's just like all part of Cable Guy's twisted rationale.
No, and it's like, you know, if you're going to call for a guy like Spilborghs, are you just going to call for every guy who's like about 50 years old and in decent shape until you strike gold? Like, it's just a bad strategy. So, as much as I try to give that guy the benefit of the doubt, once again, there was there was some good graphing right towards the end. So the night had kind of been a little bit of a letdown before this, because I had also called for Brett Pill and Jordan Pacheco, 2 former major leaguers on the coaching staff. I'd called for them, but they came out in a big flurry of guys and just ignored me, and so that was a letdown. But yeah, a bunch of rapid fire stuff happened. So as we've talked about on this podcast, I've been trying to get Ron Gideon, longtime member of their coaching staff for years. I have a card of his from Lynchburg, minor leagues. It's from 1987. I've been carrying this card in my book for about 3 years since I started graphing, but Ron Gideon has ignored me every single time. So I really sold out for him this time. I laid it on real thick. I said, "Mr. Gideon, do you have time for one autograph, please?" And I was so respectful, and I was like, I am just gonna kiss this guy's ass so hard, like there's gonna be no way he doesn't sign for me. So he looks at me and he laughs and he's like, why sure. And he comes over and he signs for me, and then I thank him. He's got like a real deep Texas voice too. His baseball card says he's from Hallsville, Texas, so he definitely sounded like a Southerner. He comes over to sign, but as he's signing, you got Ezekiel Tovar over there, and Tovar started signing too. So I was like, shit, Gideon's signing for me, but I'm gonna miss Tovar. And then you called it, Jeremy. You called it Gideon's last revenge. It's like, I got his autograph, but I might miss like the best, most promising player on the Rockies. So anyway, like, Gideon wrapped up, and right away, like real quick, I was able to get Tovar too. I lucked out. I just barely had enough time, but I did get him. But man, it was close.
Yeah, it was yeah, that was intense. So like and you know, Gideon could have like kind of I really threw just a Hail Mary to get Tovar to come over, and he did. So Gideon was signing for you. I took a step back because I didn't have anything for him, and I tried to like I did this thing where I kind of like I did like a hook shot with my voice to Tovar, and so I kind of like yell around Gideon. I'm like, Ezekiel, you got time? And he came right over, and I was like, oh shit, he's coming over. And so there was this little spot just for him to come over, and me and I guess maybe Picture Book was over there.
Yep.
Yeah, we both got him. So we both flipped to Tovar. Tovar came over and signed for us. You know, I think the fact that it was Picture Book also gave you enough time to get your card out.
Yep.
And then Ezekiel, so Tovar starts signing for you. And then right as he's like hitting you, Lorenzen comes out, Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah.
And so we call for Lorenzen, and then he comes over, and Tovar is like kind of now in the Gideon spot. And and Lorenzen comes over, and we flip to Lorenzen, and we get him, and then he gets both of us. And then like, yeah, you were done with Tovar just in enough time for you to get Lorenzen. So it was just crazy the way like I had to kind of like maneuver around Gideon to get Tovar, and then he came out, and then like, yeah, I am glad that you got all three of those guys because, yeah, like I think we were rehashing it after that, and I think we threw out the Gideon's Last Revenge.
Yeah.
I will say I did make Cable Guy laugh, which like
You did?
of course. Yeah. So of course Cable Guy wasn't mad at me for cutting him off. He was still like laughing at what I said, which is like I almost felt bad about that because he probably had every right to be mad at me. But
Sure.
I said, I'm like, oh man, you got Gideon, like you were so nice to him. Oh please, sir, like please, you know, thank you, please, and like. And Gideon, and I'm like, Gideon was just like, oh, well, here's a nice young man. I better sign for him. And then like, and Cable Guy heard that and started laughing. So it was,
He did.
I don't know. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. That was one of those feel-good moments in graphing, Jeremy, because, like, you, me, Picture Book, Cable Guy, like, I think we all got everybody who signed. And so, like, you know, we were all kind of feeling it, and it was, like, a good end of the night, you know. As I would liken it to the camaraderie that we all felt when Brewer's Cape and Drug Rug were, like, you know, giving it to to what's-his-face, Adult Stupidity, and then, like, you know, we were all, like, kind of in it together, you know. It was a similar thing, but it's better when it happens because, like, a lot of guys signed.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So even a Picture Book was like, well, that really turned the night around or whatever. So yeah, he doesn't, and he's not very talkative. I think maybe I'm wondering if he's out there more because we've kind of like, I won't say like we befriended him, but like I think he was always kind of standoffish and like on his own, and like we never shunned the guy, but like I think we've kind of become more friendly this season. So maybe he knows like, hey, those guys will be out here, and so like they'll help out, and I can help them out, whatever. So Picture Book is not a, you know, he's a good guy.
He is. It's one of those things, too, where it's like, I think that's why Dennis likes having us around, too. And the same is true for Picture Book because, like, we can help Picture Book sometimes, like, recognizing guys. And sometimes he can help us, too. And it's like Picture Book knows that we're not going to screw him out of an autograph. So it's like, it's just, it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that was a good. It was you know, a flurry. It was maybe like one of the higher quality flurries. Of autographs. Like there's times where you'll like boom 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 get guys, but you know it might be like Hunter Strickland and who was it? Matt Barnes, was that the guy for them?
Yeah, Kevin Newman was in a flurry one time.
Yeah, but Tovar and Lorenzen, I know Lorenzen. He wasn't having a good year until he faced the Cubs, and he looked like Cy Lorenzen against the Cubs. But he's been around a long time. He has a no-hitter. I got him on a no-hitter card, so I've been carrying that card around for a couple years. So he's a guy who has eluded us in all the times that all the different teams he's been on when he's, you know, been in our presence. So it was cool to get him, longtime guy, and yeah, Tovar. So yeah, that was a good way to end the night. And yeah, I think I ended up with like 13 autographs that day, which is just crazy.
Yeah, and so I got a couple more the next night that we're going to talk about real quick here, too. We got a little bit left. But I ended up with 8 autographs just from the bus from these 2 days, which is pretty damn good for the bus these days. So I'm happy about that. I guess I would have done a little bit better if I would have been able to attend one of the games. But I really have no complaints about the Rockies. They're a great signing team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and like I said to you, Jack, like because we were discussing going back, and I said like as good as it was, it still felt like there was some like meat left on the bone because I feel like there were some other guys who maybe could have signed, but the bus was leaving, and if it was a different situation, maybe we could have got them. So we did end up going back, not Tuesday, I think, because I had like work early the next day, but we went back Wednesday. And not as successful. You kind of closed some loops, which was good for you, but we had some funny interactions. I think the first one, so it was getaway day, so we were kind of waiting, at the front of the bus for the guys to come out, and there was this knucklehead who was there, and he was Edward Julian came out, and this guy, he was like a big, broad, fucking giant of a guy. Not even so much of a giant of a guy. He was just like a big, wide, obstruction of a person.
He looked like a frat guy who used to be in shape but let himself go after college, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty faithful description. And he was there to talk to Edward Julian. And it wasn't enough that he talked to him, but he got through the barrier. He was he got his way through the barrier to talk to him, in between the two barriers. And it's guys come out and they have their friends out there all the time, family members even, but usually they just talk to him across the barrier like normal people, and they stand on our side. This guy had to, I guess it was so important that he had to get through the barrier to talk to Edward Julian. And the whole time he's talking at Julian, and he's incredibly close talker to Julian.
Yeah,
just
it was
in his face.
Yeah, man, it was like when an umpire or a manager gets in an umpire's face, and just is super close. That's what this guy was. Just for 15 minutes at least. This conversation was going on forever. And at first, the conversation started more by us, where we're more kind of by the front of the bus. But it gradually started moving over to where Julianne would have gone back in and gone into the locker room. But every time Julianne took a step back, this guy would take a step forward again and stay in Julianne's face. It was crazy. It was almost like if Julianne hadn't been able to cut the conversation off at some point, this guy would have gone back in the clubhouse with him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he would have been like, "Hey, what's up, Skip? What's up, Ronnie?" Yeah, just all over him, like white on rice, and just couldn't shake him, and Julian for 90% of the conversation looked completely uninterested. Yes. And I think I was saying to you, I'm like, what the hell could this guy have to say to a Major League Baseball player? This guy's nothing. Edward Julian, grant say what you want about him, he kind of maybe has tailed off since he debuted with the Twins, but he's a major league ball player. I said to you, Jack, at one point, I'm like, one day of this guy's life experience as a Major League Baseball player is exponentially more interesting than anything that this guy could have to say to him. Yes. And he's just talking his fucking ear off, and it's the guy was annoying as hell. And also, cost us getting his autograph. So
yeah, absolutely. If the guy would have been a little bit more chill, there would have been room to maybe ask Julianne after they broke up, after their conversation broke apart. So, but there wasn't. He chased Julianne so far inside that by the time Julianne finally had to bail, there was no shot. So I didn't call for him. He was a guy I would have liked to get, but I don't think we've seen the last of him in the majors after the Rockies. So hopefully there'll be a chance to get him. I don't say that with 100% certainty, but who knows? Hopefully there'll be a chance. Warren Schaefer came out too, and I feel like we said we didn't see him on Monday, but I just don't think we were really looking for him. He usually comes out a little bit earlier. Anyway, he came out. To very little fanfare. I would say, if you rank the managers from 1 to 30, with 1 being the most known and 30 being the least, Warren Schaefer's probably number 30. He's probably the guy that people just don't think about. Unfortunately for him, he's a cool guy, but that's just the truth. He'd probably tell you the same. But anyway, he came out to the bus. We didn't have anything for him because we both got him last year. I think we were both pretty satisfied with what we got him on minor league cards. But, nobody else was saying anything to him. So as he got on the bus, I just said, "Hey, what's up, Warren?" And then, Jeremy, you gave him a thumbs up, I think you said. And so he gets on the bus, and we kind of just don't think anything else of it. And then, 5-10 seconds pass, maybe not even 10 seconds, like 5 seconds pass. He puts his shit down, and then he comes right back out and comes right up to us and starts talking to us.
Yeah, for real. We should say, just as a refresher, like when we did get him last year, we had a funny interaction with him where I just had this like completely non-exceptional minor league card of him. He was the minor league manager, so he was coaching third base, which is what minor league managers do. Yep. And he's just standing at third base, just standing there. And I give him the card to sign, and he looks at it and he's like, "Oh, terrible photo." And we were just like, "Oh, well, yeah, I don't know, whatever." And like, it was just so odd, and like he was so like kind of just disgusted by it. So that was a funny interaction, and like I was like, man, I'm good with that interaction. It was fine. And then he managed to like kind of outdo himself.
Yep.
So yeah, like I had my Sharpie in my hand when I gave him the thumbs up, so maybe he thought I was holding it up to him.
Yep.
And then I saw him starting to make his way off the bus, and I'm like, oh shit, he's coming. He thinks we want his autograph. So I started flipping through my book, and I'm like, oh shit, do I have another Rockies card? I luckily I did have another one after DePodesta signed the previous day or whatever. So he comes over, and Jack, I was kind of replaying this in my head. Jack, you don't think that he was coming out just to talk to us, do you? Like, do you think he? Do you think he like? Yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a good question, Jeremy, because I kind of took for granted that you're like, okay, I because we were like, why the hell did he come back out? And you're like, well, when I gave him the thumbs up, I might have had my marker in my hand. But it's like, I think we've both just taken for granted that that's the reason he came out, but it might not be. That's also pure speculation on our part.
For sure.
We didn't ask. Yeah.
The reason why I asked Jack is because he came right over to us and he goes like, I was wearing my Albuquerque Isotopes hat. For some reason, I have the AAA and like the AA hat of the Colorado Rockies. I don't know why. I just like I was in Albuquerque because I only get it if I've been there.
Yeah, right.
But not really, because I have the Hartford Yard Goats, because I think that's just one of the funnier minor league teams and hats, and it's just a big goat on the hat. But so I was wearing the Isotopes, and he managed the Isotopes, and he came out and he goes like, "Isotopes." He's like, "You from Albuquerque?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, not from Albuquerque. I've been there a couple times." I'm like, "I love it, love the city, love the food." And he goes like, "I agree." and then he's standing there, and like I kind of just like was a little flustered or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, Warren, can I get you on this Rockies card? And he's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And like he seemed kind of like surprised. I don't know if he was surprised that I was getting him on like a team card and not his own card. I don't know if that's what made me think, like, did he just see the Isotopes hat and wanted to just make conversation?
Yeah.
Albuquerque's a small enough city that like maybe if you and he probably lived there for several years while he was managing the team, and so maybe he just wanted to talk about Albuquerque. I don't know. It was perplexing.
It could have been. And then he looked at my hat and he's like, "What's that one?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's the Beloit Sky Carp." And he's like, "The what?" And I was like, "Oh, the Beloit Sky Carp. It used to be the Snappers." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And it's like he probably has heard of the Beloit Snappers. It's his profession. Maybe not. I don't know. But it was just, it was strange. It almost felt like he felt like he had to ask about my hat because he asked about yours. But maybe he was genuinely curious. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe he just wanted to make conversation with some people he thought were fans.
Yeah, I know. And then in retrospect, I'm like, oh man, did we violate like that? Like, that pact by asking for his autograph, like asking him for something. Like, no, I think it's fine, but like, I mean, hell, it would be cool to be able to have like a conversation with a manager as one person to another,
Yeah.
But
I agree. I mean, this guy is one of 30 managers in the major leagues, and like he came out to talk to us. You talk about meat on the bone. It's like I feel like we could have talked to him for like 5 minutes if we wanted to. I think we were so stunned that he came out and did it that we just didn't take advantage of the moment. But it's kind of like when Mark Leiter and what's his face, that lefty reliever, came over to like, this is right when we started graphing. This guy doesn't play any. Brandon Hughes. Like you remember when those guys came over and like started looking at the cards you had for them and just kind of started bullshitting? It's like so every once in a while, like, these players like just are bored and don't have anything to do, and they'll just like talk to fans. Like we probably next time that happens, we gotta like recognize that moment and just like try to have a conversation with the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would. I don't know. Yeah, I will say we've seen Dennis kind of like have interactions with the guys.
Right.
Sometimes it seems forced, but yeah, I mean, like it would definitely be cool to have a conversation. I've had like kind of a conversation with John Warden from the Tigers, and
sure.
That was cool. But like, yeah, it's just as huge fans, we maybe get a little starstruck
right
in front of the players. So yeah, it would be cool to be able to do that. But yeah, as in our situation where we're there for graphs, it's always like it just naturally goes to that.
Yeah, and also like if we get caught up with this guy, it's like some other player might come out that we want to get his autograph, and it's like we're talking to Warren Schaefer. Now it would be funny if Schaefer like pulled out his phone and was like, "Man, I got all these cards listed here. Like, can you tell me what to?" that would be good. Okay, so yeah, Schaefer was cool. Once again. Also, I like you said, Jeremy, I sort of wrapped up some loose ends here. I tied up loose ends. I got Jordan Pacheco and I got Brett Pill, which was nice. They came out separately. Was able to get both of them. Really happy with that. I was afraid I was going to miss those guys because I couldn't attend one of the games. So that was great. I was in good spirits about that. And I think to wrap it up, so this was a getaway day. So we tried to go to our spot between the buses. And there was no guard over there when we got over there, but the second we got over there, one of the yellow shirts followed us over, and he just kind of plopped down right in front of us, even though we were across the street. I don't know if you noticed how he stopped, but he kind of like put both of his feet down like he was Yokozuna about to start a match. It was just like this guy like kind of thought he was a big shit or something. So that basically just ended ended any possibility of getting autographs between the buses. You said, Jeremy, like we'll probably get one shot to call for one guy before we get kicked out. And I just didn't have the balls to like actually call for anybody, or there was no one I wanted that bad. And so we just didn't do it.
Yeah, it sucks. It's Graphing Getaway Day this year has been very hit or miss because for the most part, adult stupidity's been out there. And we know better than to cross him. Although fucking Brewers Cape might have gotten him permanently, chased from Wrigley Field duty.
Right.
So yeah, and then I got into it last year with a yellow shirt before, who was like kind of a new guy there. Some of them are cool, some of them are not. And every once in a while, like someone kind of like shoos you. Like I think ultimately you're not supposed to get autographs between the buses on Getaway Day, but like sometimes a whole crowd gathers down there and like they can't do anything. So it's very hit or miss, and it sucks to go through all of it and then kind of get blocked because it takes extra long for them to come out on Getaway Day. And so yeah, it's just it sucks. And I wasn't surprised that happened, but like I said, I think we could have got some more guys. I was like kind of prioritizing who I would call for, like who I would risk calling for, because I figured we had one shot. And like I think 3 of the guys who I prioritized, 2 of them never even came to the second bus because they must have gotten on the first bus. So it was a pain in the neck. But like, I also don't love Graphing Getaway Day when there's only 2 buses because like they kind of start sending guys to both buses at some point, and you could just totally miss some guys, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, Jeremy. That yellow shirt definitely did cost us some autographs, and in my opinion, you shouldn't have to make the decision of, I can only call for one guy. Who do I call for? It's just it's too hard. That being said, you got a ton of autographs Monday. I ended up with 8 overall at the bus over 2 nights, which is fantastic. For those of you who've been to the bus and know what the results are like. That's almost uncanny to get that many. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. And this coming week, I think we're going to be back on the south side for a White Sox game.
Yeah, White Sox and Guardians. So that should be fun. We're in kind of like a weird work phase, at least for me. So it's tough for me to get. I can get to games in plenty of time, but to graph is pretty tough. So I think this will mostly be like a game episode. But I think, because the Sox are going right now. So I think tomorrow Parker Messick is starting for the Guardians, or tomorrow as we're recording this. So Parker Messick will be starting that game. He's having a really good year. So that'll be nice to be able to see that. And I don't know. The Sox are doing well. They're making people excited. So the ticket prices are a little higher. They go up anyway during summer a little bit, but definitely in the upper echelon of what we've paid for White Sox tickets right now.
Yes.
So it just is what it is. So definitely trying to get to as many games as possible. So it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see this one.
Yeah, it'll be good. So we'll check in next week. But for this week on Rain Delay Theater, I'm Jack Sokowski.
And I'm Jeremy Dionisio.
We'll see you later.